All right, happy Veterans Day, everyone, and welcome to tonight's presentation. I'm happy to see so many of you join us tonight. Tonight, in celebrating Veterans Day, we are joined by Mr. Julian Singh, who has over 20 years of government, military, and private sector experience, including 6.5 years in the U.S. Marine Corps. Reminder, please remain muted during the presentation. You can send any questions you have throughout in the chat, and as always, there will be an opportunity at the end to unmute for a Q&A. If you enjoyed tonight's presentation, make sure to check out poolsvilleseniors.org for whatever's coming next. Without further ado, Julian, take it away.
Thank you, Dottie. Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Julian Singh. I am the post commander for the American Legion here in Poolsville. We have a very robust post here in Poolsville. The only thing is we don't have a physical location like most organizations in Poolsville. So Kaleva has generously donated their office space in town and also their farm space when it's nicer out for us to meet at the barn. So we meet on the first Monday of every month from September to June. First Thursday every month, 7 o'clock. To be a member of the American Legion, you have to be served honorably in the military, in the U.S. military from 1918 to present. And I know that sounds silly, but before about 2 years ago, they had restrictions on the American Legion, and so you couldn't. It was certain times. I think it was 1918 to 1921. And then it kind of went on from there, but some veterans were not allowed to join. Our previous president opened up the American Legion to all veterans who served from 1918 to present. So that was a little change, and it was for the better for everyone. We have a member that has waited 50 years to join the American Legion. Joe Butt, he lives off 107 coming into town, or 109, I'm sorry, coming into town, and really he's waited 50 years to join the post, and I'm glad he's a member. A little background about the American Legion: we are the largest veteran organization in the U.S. It was formed after World War I. In November 1918. At the 11th hour, the 11th day at the 11th month, which is 11 o'clock, November 11th, which was today, all the nations that were fighting in World War I signed an agreement and called it the Armistice. And this day was known as Armistice Day from 1918 to 1954, when it was changed to Veterans Day to honor all who served and who are currently serving in the armed forces. So that's a brief history of the American Legion. The Legion is the largest veteran organization in the country. They support veteran rights, veteran benefits, and they just encourage Congress to pass a lot of these veteran legislation. So that's on the larger scale of the several million veterans that are in the American Legion. Here in Poolsville, we were formed in 1954. We actually were formed in Boyd's because most of the members lived in Boyd's, and we gradually moved over to Poolsville, where, like I said, we don't have a home, but we do meet locally. I live here. I've been living here since 2003, and I've been the post commander for the last 3 years. We have about 78 members. Today at our Veterans Day event, I think, signed up another 7 members. So our post is growing. In the last 3 years that I've been post commander, we've done a lot of what I call family-centric events, because I have a family. I have a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old, and most of the members do have either younger kids or older kids, but people want to come to family events. They don't want to come to just a bar and just have a beer. And sometimes they do, and sometimes it's a great thing. But majority of the time here for our local Poolsville population, it's the family activities that really um, gets more veterans involved, including the younger ones with younger kids. As for events that we have done in the past, we've done the square dance at Kaleva Barn. We've done it 3 times. It's been wonderful. Last year we couldn't do it because of COVID, and this year we couldn't do it because of COVID. But also, it got too late to do it once they open up the restrictions. So we like to do it in September when it's cool but not too cold. We also have a saloon dinner at Kaleva in sort of their back area past the barn, where it's Western dress and it's serving chili, it's hanging out, and really there's a banjo player out there playing the banjo. So another fun event that we've done. One of the things that we also did as a post, but we also invited the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, was we crossed the Potomac. So Poolsville has a lot of military history, and just sort of north of Edwards Ferry is a crossing called White's Ford, and that's where the Confederate crossed to go up to Antietam. So many hundreds of years ago, Native American built a sort of a bridge to trap the fish there, and over time it kind of built up that section. White's farm was on the Virginia side, and so that ford was called White's Ford. And so last year, I believe, yeah, last year we crossed it for the first time with the Girl Scouts, and the water's in August or September. The water is probably about 3 feet, high at the highest point at Edwards Ferry. So when it's at White's Ferry at White's Ford, it's probably about 2.5, maybe 2 feet deep. So it's mid ankle or mid calf to knee height, and we're able to walk over there. This year we did it with a smaller group. It's a very fun time, because you could say that, hey, I crossed the Potomac and went to Virginia. And then we sit around there and talk a little bit on the Virginia side and cross back. Another fun event that we're going to do is to take a bus trip, and we are going to try to get a large bus and go to the Marine Corps Museum. Right before COVID, that was our next big event, and we were going to depend on the size of the response. And I think we had a pretty good, I think we had about 25 people going. But you get a bus, go down to the Marine Corps Museum, spend about 6 hours and come back, and have lunch down there and come back. We're going to do that probably in the spring, give COVID a little more time to do whatever it's doing or whatever we're going to do. I'm no doctor, I'm no COVID expert, so I just want to kind of state that for the fact we're just, sort of do as we're told, but be cautious. But in the spring, once things, once it gets a little warmer again, we're going to go take a trip to the Marine Corps Museum. Also, there's a great military museum in Baltimore. It's the Maryland Military Museum, and we'll take a smaller trip there as well. It's a pretty small museum. Some of the events that we do for give back to the community. One of the things is, because we're sort of nomads, we don't have a building. We like to, a lot of the restaurants support us, Bassett's, Cugini's. So we like to have our events there. So when we have we had our ceremony dinner today for our lunch after the Veterans Day ceremony, we went to Bassett's. So we give back to the community that way. And, Bassett gives us a deal on the meals, but we're also bringing them business. So that's part of how we give back. Most Legion, posts, they have a kitchen, and they'll cook and they'll do whatever. But this is one way we give back. And same with Cugini's. I hosted my Marine Corps birthday celebration there yesterday. And same with Kaleva as well. Also, we went out and helped Lewis Orchards last year. She had a big event and said, how can we help? We actually directed traffic for Linda Lewis. And that was fantastic. So Linda Lewis has been a big supporter of the post, and one of the things that we're going to do for Lewis Orchards is we are going to put an American flag there and put a light on it and make a nice little display for her. So those are the things that we're doing to give back to the community. The old bank at in the center of town, there's we need to put a light on the flag, because if the flag is going to be up at night, it needs to be illuminated. Currently, it's not illuminated, so I'm working with Tom Kettler to get a light on that flag. So those are some of the things we do for the community. We also there's a essay contest for the middle school that we do for the 8th graders. And we're trying to do more with the high schoolers and also the elementary schools, Monocacy and Poolsville. I think I've covered everything in the 14 minutes that I've been speaking. I think it's 13. Are there any questions? I'm happy to answer questions. If there's anything I left out, I'm happy to answer those.
I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
First of all, I want to tell you that the Poolsville Seniors organization, we're also nomads without a building. So maybe someday all of us that don't have a proper place will, which is, why we all push for fair access, because,
Yes.
we're hoping that we have a building that all of our organizations out here may be able to share at some point. So we call ourselves, Poolsville Senior Center, and people say, well, where is that? And we're like, well, we are the Senior Center, just like you are the American Legion. So I have a couple of questions. So are any spouses of veterans allowed in that organization, or is it veterans only?
No, it's only veterans only. And so there's an annex. There's a American Legion annex that the spouse can join. There's also Sons of the American Legion. However, our post is pretty small. When it comes to our number, I believe it's currently 77. So it's a relatively small post for the American Legion. The larger ones do have an auxiliary, and they do have Sons of American Legions. But when we look at it, and we looked at this last year and having an auxiliary, it's really, then I would have to manage. It's actually managing 3 organizations and not just one.
Right.
So we decided that it's not, it's very time consuming. So right now we just can't do it because I don't. This is a part-time as I work full-time.
Right. Which is with the Senior Center, that's all of us. We have a little bit of stipend that we pay Dottie, but the rest of us are all volunteers and spend many hours a week like you do. So is there a membership to be part of the American Legion, and how do you raise funds, to keep going with your programming?
Yeah, no, so it's a very good question. So the membership is $35 a year. We as a post will do fundraisers. We get everything we do is through fundraisers. So the square dance is a fundraiser, the saloon dinner is a fundraiser. We have a raffle. We had a raffle today, and that was a fundraiser as well. So we really just, most of our revenue comes from fundraising and a few very generous donors that we get. So, and that's just on a, it's not a very constant, but, we'll have a few generous donors there. But because we're nomads, we have no mortgage or utilities or anything like that. Our operating costs are relatively low, but we have enough revenue to kind of do things for the community.
And not to dominate, I'll let the floor go to somebody else soon. So your square dance, is that open to everybody?
It is. It's open to the public.
Okay.
And we will. And we haven't discussed 2022 schedule yet. And I don't want to plan out too far in advance because of COVID. And so I will, once I have the date for the square dance, I will let you know.
Yeah, we have seniors that are interested in a square dance. In fact, one of our or line dancing, one of our board members has been really pushing that, but it's good to know that you all do that, because we're also very sensitive about not stepping on any organization's toes. Like if that's your big fundraiser, you know, we may look at other options because we survive on fundraising also.
Yes.
But we would love to know about it and participate to
Yeah,
help support
absolutely.
you guys. So definitely let us know.
I see a couple questions in the chat. One that says, do you coordinate with other groups in the area like the Canine Warrior Connection or other groups?
So we do when we can, right? And you know, we are small. And when I say 77, that's just everyone. Not everyone is active. So and majority of us, I believe of the what is that, the 20% or 25% of the active members, we all have full-time jobs. So it's hard for us to connect with some of these other groups. We do have, we've connected with the Monocacy Cemetery, and we're doing the wreaths at the cemetery. We did the flags at the cemetery not last year, but 2020. And so we do sometimes coordinate with other groups. It's just, you know, a lot like the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts. We'll do events for them. We're doing an event with them on the 22nd, I believe, of this month, where we're going to go out and speak to them about being a veteran and patriotism. But for the Canine Warrior Connection, not specifically.
I see another question that says, are active duty service members eligible for membership or just veterans?
Yes, no, they are eligible, and I believe if they're active duty, their membership is free. I have to double check that, but yes, they're active and they're eligible for membership. One of the posts, I think it's Gaithersburg or Germantown, one of their members work at the Pentagon, so they have like 400 members because he just signs everybody up at the Pentagon, which is fantastic. Do we have World War II veterans living in the area? The answer is yes. I know of one Marine. He's 95 years old. He lives on Dowden Circle here in town. His name is Richard Remp. People call him Sarge. He enlisted in World War II. He served in Korea. He was in Japan, so he serviced the airplanes coming back from their bomb runs in Korea, and then he actually fought in Vietnam. So he was a door gunner in a helicopter. So he's pretty remarkable. But we do. I know of one World War II veteran here in town.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Okay, actually, first a comment and then two questions.
Yes.
The ceremony today was wonderful. Thank you all who worked on it. It was really appreciated by those of us, myself, and I know others who are not veterans, but we have veterans in our family, both living and dead. So it was a way to honor everybody, not just the people who were there. And I truly appreciate you openly, publicly welcoming home our Vietnam veterans. That was very meaningful. So I appreciate you adding that into the ceremony. And now my questions are two. One is it your thought that there may be more veterans out in our community beyond the 78 who are currently in the Legion, who just maybe aren't aware or or maybe new to town and don't know that you're there and able to enroll? And then the second question is, do you ever have circumstances where you have a veteran who needs like direct assistance, somebody who's like fallen through the cracks of what is offered to veterans and really needs some help where people could pitch in, whether it's, you know, donating food or whatever the service might be needed?
So the first question, well, let's go back to, so the answer for the second question is yes. We will try to coordinate. We will try, one of the veterans here, and it was last year, it was a younger guy, 2 teenage girls lost his mother, or the mother passed away. So we reached out, we helped, we provided stuff for that family. And we've done other things for other families as well, right? Somebody comes to us and, hey, this person needs X. The World War II veteran that I was talking about, Sarge, I go visit him every couple days. And so, I said, hey, he still drives. He's 95. He still drives. It scares me a little bit. So I told him I was going to Costco. So I picked up stuff for him at Costco. So, if there was a need, we would rally around to help them in that need. It's Poolsville, right? And your first question, can you?
Yes, you said that there's about 78 members
Right.
currently. Is it your suspicion or thought that there may in fact be more veterans in our community who just aren't aware, since there isn't a physical place to say, hey, there's the American Legion? Especially I'm thinking of newer members to our community.
Yes, no, absolutely. And that's a great question. One of the numbers I've heard, and I don't know if somebody just came up with this number. They said it was from the census, and I don't know, but it sounded like a pretty reasonable number. They said about 350 veterans live in Poolsville. And with that, our membership is at 78 a lot of people don't know because we don't have a location. One of the things that we're trying to do is be more visible even without a location. So we have our Facebook page that I'm asking for help to help me with, because I can't get on and post things more on there. But also, a lot of the events, that we're trying to word of mouth and doing things. And in the last year with COVID, our post has been very strong because of word of mouth. At our meetings, we were having 16 to 20 members show up pre-COVID. COVID, we dropped down to about 12 via Zoom. That is the most attendance for, I believe, this region in Maryland, that for our posts our size. But it's word of mouth. It's hey, they're having fun at the American Legion. This is what they're doing. But also, what we're doing is we're also going to get signs made, round American Legion signs, and place those where we can, to just so when people are driving in and out, they're like, hey, there's an American Legion. And then work with a web designer, or to get either a search that goes to our Facebook page that will say, okay, Poolsville American Legion, and it'll go right to the page, and then we can attract people that way to kind of spread the word. It's joining an organization is not for everyone. So of that 350, we have a good percentage. Some belong to, like one of the guys yesterday, he belonged to the American Legion from where he lived in Pennsylvania. However, you can't be a part of 2 posts with the American Legion. So it's either he gives up that membership and come here, or he keeps the one there. So it's a very good question. It's something that we tackle every other month when it comes to how do we attract more veterans, and how do we advertise ourselves that we're here, and this is what we're doing. So very good question.
Thanks for the answers.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Oh, wait, I just want to put another plug in for the Montgomery County Commission on Veterans, which, so yeah, so I will, like I said, we'll try to get somebody linked up with that person in the veterans office. Thank you for that information. And it would be a great resource to have for them. And what I will do is I'm going to see if that person can come out or if that office can come out here to one of our meetings to talk to the post. So thank you so much for that info.
If we have any more questions, feel free to either put them in the chat or unmute and ask them yourself.
So Julian,
Yes.
the home that's being built for the veteran on Westerly and Willard,
Yes.
were you guys part of that, or was that a separate organization? Or
No, that's a separate organization, and we have no we didn't even know it was going to happen. It was happening until we saw the big sign out there. So, hopefully there are 2 dates there, and somebody sent it to me in my email. I believe it's January 4th where they're moving in, and so it's January 4th, and there's another day where they need some landscaping work. And so I'm going to try to hold on a second. I'm sorry.
is that your dog?
Come on in. Yep, come here. Come say hi. This is Ziggy. Come say hi. Look.
Hello there.
Very happy. He just wants to be with his dad, and so I apologize. That's every Zoom he likes to make a cameo. So whether it's work or and I think all the people I work with already just expect him to make his cameo. So all right, I apologize for that. That's Ziggy. But for Sergeant Manuel, there are 2 dates. I will get those out in email and try to get folks over there and help out with. I think it's the move-in, but also I think it's like doing some landscaping. So I'll get that out.
That would be nice if you let us know. We do a newsletter every Monday. So that's something that we would love to put out to the community, to let people know. If you can let us know.
Okay.
Ahead of time. We do a postscript every Monday with things that are coming up in the community, also programs that we're providing that week or for weeks to come. And we are all about community and connection. So
okay, I will send you an email.
Okay, that would be great.
And if you're not seeing that email and you're on our mailing list, make sure to check that it's not getting filtered out, because there's a lot of good stuff in there. And if you haven't joined our mailing list yet, there's a link to do so on our website. I would highly recommend it. We give lots of updates about our upcoming events, but also, like Melissa said, different things going on all over the community and different interest articles about community history and such as well.
Any other questions?
Well, if we have no further questions, I would just like to say thank you so much for joining us tonight, Mr. Singh. I hope you all enjoyed tonight's presentation as much as I did. And of course, we will give all the information we get about upcoming American Legion events in our postscript and on our blog as well. If you think of any questions later, as always, you can email them to info@poolsvilleseniors.org and we will pass them on for you. If you'd like to unmute or turn on your camera to say goodbye, now's the time. If you're joining us on Facebook Live, please leave a like and a comment. And we'd like to thank Mr. Singh for this presentation, as well as our ongoing sponsors and private contributors, because we love putting on these programs for you. If you've enjoyed tonight's program, please consider joining us for more upcoming events. We'll be back this time next week with Kenny Scholl's November Historic Property Lecture. You can check out our website, poolsvilleseniors.org, for more info and registration. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Singh.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a great night. Thanks for having me.